Sri Lanka under colonial rule from spice port to sovereign state for nearly 450 years. The island of Sri Lanka, once known as Ceylon, was caught in the crosshairs of European empires. Its strategic location in the Indian Ocean and rich resources like cinnamon, pearls, and tea made it a prime target. From Portuguese traders to British Imperial, Sri Lanka's colonial history is a layered tale of commerce, conquest, resistance, and transformation. Portuguese arrival, trade and control. The first European power to arrive in Sri Lanka was Portugal in 1505, during the height of the Age of Exploration. Initially interested in trade, especially in cinnamon, the Portuguese quickly shifted to military conquest of the island's coastal areas. By the mid-16th century, they controlled much of Sri Lanka's western and southern coasts, imposed Catholicism, and often clashed with local kingdoms like Kandy. The Portuguese built fortresses, introduced new weapons, and integrated parts of the population through conversion but their harsh policies sparked resistance from native rulers and soon invited new rivals. The Dutch period. Commerce over conversion. The Dutch East India Company ousted the Portuguese from most coastal areas by 1658, following a military alliance with the Kingdom of Kandy. Unlike the Portuguese, the Dutch prioritized commercial profit over religious conversion. They established an efficient administrative system, built canals and forts, and monopolized trade, especially of cinnamon and elephants. However, Dutch rule also brought exploitation, forced labor, and heavy taxation. Their partnership with Kandy eventually soured, and by the late 18th century, the Dutch grip on the island began to weaken just in time for the rise of a new empire. British rule, consolidation, and control. In 1796, during the Napoleonic Wars, the British took control of Dutch territories in Sri Lanka. By 1850, they had conquered the last independent native kingdom, Kandy, marking the first time the entire island came under one foreign ruler. The British transformed Sri Lanka into a plantation economy. They introduced coffee cultivation, built railways and roads, and turned the island into a major exporter. To support the plantations, they imported Tamil laborers from southern India, creating a demographic shift still felt today. Colonial administration was centralized and modernized, but often excluded locals from power. British policies also deepened ethnic divisions by categorizing and separating communities along ethnic and religious lines, a pattern that sowed the seeds for post-independence conflict, resistance, and the road to independence. Despite colonial dominance, resistance was constant. In 1818 and 1848, there were uprisings in the Kandyan regions. Buddhist monks, nationalists, and intellectuals kept alive the idea of self. By the 20th century, movements like the Ceylon National Congress and figures such as D.S. Senanayake pushed for reforms and greater autonomy. After World War II, the momentum for decolonization accelerated globally. On February 4, 1948, Sri Lanka finally gained independence from Britain, becoming the Dominion of Ceylon, with full control of its internal affairs. Legacy of colonial rule. Colonialism left a deep imprint on Sri Lanka's demographics. Through migration and labor policies, economy, with plantation agriculture still dominant, education and governance, with British systems of schools, law, and civil service, ethnic politics, divisions hardened under colonial rule, contributed to later conflicts. Yet the colonial period also laid the groundwork for modern infrastructure and institutions, both a burden and a legacy. Sri Lanka's colonial era was not just a chapter of foreign domination, it was a period that shaped the island's identity, economy, and future trajectory. From a trading post to a battleground of empires, and eventually to a sovereign nation, Sri Lanka's colonial past is central to understanding its complex present.